Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by the all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, offering professional-grade design and functionality. The all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, now available at Richmond area GMC dealers. Dan Doherty at Colonial First Mortgage, assisting customers with home purchasing and mortgage refinancing. Online at colonial1mtg.com and by phone at 804-218-4444. And James Limousine, driven to serve Richmond for 22 years. JamesLimousine.com, 804-273-1540. Coming up on Flying Squirrels Insider, Jon and Jay let you know how the Squirrels have become one of the hottest teams in all of baseball. Plus, we hit the links for the first annual Turn Left Charity Golf Classic. And the game day host with the most, Mike Murphy, visits FSI Field to play a little hillbilly horseshoes. It's all ahead as FSI gets rolling right now.
I just wanted to radio, not another year of squirrel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Flying Squirrels Insider. I'm your host, Jon Laaser, alongside this guy, my broadcast partner, Jay Burnham. No Wes McElroy today. That's addition by subtraction. And before Jay and I break down the hottest streak potentially in Flying Squirrels franchise history, we must remind you that if you would like to win free Flying Squirrels stuff, all you need to do is text FSI to 44544 during the duration of this program, and Jay's going to hook you up with that Flying Squirrels prize pack. Also joined here on FSI Field by a beautiful Buick LaCrosse, courtesy of your Richmond area Buick GMC dealers. A little bit later on, we're going to get on FSI Field. Promotional tour today with on-field host for the Flying Squirrels, Mike Murphy. But before we get to that, Jay, as I bring you in, we've got to talk baseball. The Flying Squirrels have been playing their best brand of it over the last, let's call it 3 weeks. We always say that in the course of the Eastern League season, every team will make at least one run, even the poorer teams. Why is the Flying Squirrels run coming now?
Well, you're concerned about making that run a little bit too early, but for this team, they seem to be able to be consistently getting ahead in ball games. They've been able to utilize their offense, the starting pitching, the bullpen have all really been solid for the Flying Squirrels. And there's a couple of factors, which is they've caught teams at the wrong time. They've been playing their best baseball while some of the opposition has been playing their poorest. And let's not look too far from playing well on the road as we record this Friday morning. Richmond finishing a road trip where they went 5-2. And you and I have talked numerous times, if you play 500 on the road and do what you've been able to do winning-wise at the Diamond, then you're going to be certainly in the mix for things. So all these factors coming together, but I think the biggest kind of caveat here is the starting pitching hasn't fully matured for the Flying Squirrels, and once they do, this team could take another step forward.
Absolutely. I said that on the broadcast last night, potentially the sky being the limit for this team. Now let's talk about the sky being the limit for a guy who came in and was fairly unheralded, and that is Matt Duffy. You just talked about the success on the road. He's hit everywhere, Jay, and we've never really seen a guy, prospect or no, come up from the California League and rake the way he has.
Well, I asked you the other day on the broadcast, I said, how do you get this guy out? And you turned and said, I don't know at this point. For Matt Duffy, he's one of the hottest hitters in the Eastern League and all of minor league baseball, and he's done so with his intelligence and his baseball acumen. He's been able to move both sides of the plate, taking pitches on the outside corner to the other side of the field, being able to rip the inside pitch as well. So for Matt Duffy, and I've actually been able to read a bunch of different scouting reports on Matt Duffy. That's what I do in my free time as I try to break down.
Because you have a great life.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot of the same common denominator for what people refer to Matt Duffy as those baseball instincts that he's able to bring to the table. Now, you mentioned he hasn't found his way into those top 30 prospect charts by Baseball America and others. If you hit 350 in the Eastern League, you're going to find yourself there, and that's where Matt Duffy is today.
And I think part of the problem for Duffy has been he doesn't necessarily pass the eye test physically. And yes, we're vain. We're super vain, and we're also superficial, but so are baseball scouts. In fact, his teammates lovingly refer to him as Bones. But it's been remarkable to hear the turning point for Giants evaluators as they talk about Matt Duffy, and now all of a sudden it's like, hey, look at this guy, whereas he was somewhat of an afterthought coming onto this roster at the beginning of the season. Now, as we transition a little bit deeper into the Flying Squirrels order, and again, I feel it's been the offense that has been the catalyst for this run of wins, 13 out of 15 for the Flying Squirrels. Mario Lisone was put on this team for two reasons. One, to take care of Angel Villalona, show him some of the things culturally off the field that he needs to do successfully, and two, to protect guys like Villalona in the order and drive in runs. He didn't get off to a good start, and I know for a fact the Giants were about to pull the plug. It's a good thing they didn't.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you could tell the reason why you don't give up on a guy like Lisone is because the walks were there for Mario, and that means that he's seeing a good amount of pitches, and he's seeing the right pitches, and he just wasn't making solid contact. Well, he certainly turned the page into May, one of the better hitters now in the Eastern League, and you're right, he provides that stability in the middle of the order. I know we're going to talk about the guys at the top of the order, and this is part of the development for Mario Lisone as well. He's starting to see better pitches with guys like Kelby Tomlinson and Tyler Graham and Matt Duffy getting on in front of him on a regular basis. He's been able to hit with those runners on, runners in scoring position, and he's been able to deliver, and that's part of the reason why this offense has triggered for the Flying Squirrels.
You said something I thought was very apropos a couple weeks ago, right before this hot streak started. You said this offense just isn't firing all its pistons at the same time, and once it does, you might see this team go on a roll, and I think actually that roll started the next day. So stop me when I would say a name of a guy that's not contributing right now. Graham, Tomlinson, Oropesa, Villalona, Harris, Parker.
I'll stop you there on Parker, all right? And it's unfortunate because Jared Parker, you know he has the ability. He did it here last year in the Eastern League. He's been able to work down on his strikeouts a little bit. But once he gets in that groove where he was last year at the start of May and even the start of 2014, if you add him in this lineup, which is a lineup that we talk a lot about, the speed at the top of the order, we'll get into that in a little bit. But when you add a guy like Parker, when he's able to figure out things, Harris you mentioned as well, Villalona, those are three big power bats in a lineup that has a lot of speed. So then all of a sudden you're a very balanced team, and we'll see if Parker can get into one of those stretches because you know he's just one swing away from doing so.
And Harris has very pleasantly climbed up towards 300 in his average. He had a very nice road trip that the Squirrels just got off at 4:30 a.m. Mind you, this morning as we film Flying Squirrels Insider. But you talk about the run producers in the middle of the order, but let's be honest, this is a team that's built on speed. It's built on putting pressure on the opposition. That is why I believe they've been able to be successful as they have on the road. Graham and Tomlinson have been a beast as a 1-2 punch now at the top of the order together, and Matt Duffy is no slouch under the radar.
Yeah, it's funny because Matt Duffy kind of goes unnoticed, and same with Mario Lisone and Miles Schroeder, who have additional speed as well. But yeah, Graham and Tomlinson, and I was actually hoping Tomlinson would go ESPN special 30 for 30 in his stolen bases. Didn't quite happen, got nabbed in Reading for the first time caught stealing this year. But you add that pressure, and I know first-year manager for the Flying Squirrels, Russ Borman, is saying, look, some of these catchers are undeveloped in this league. Some of the pitchers don't hold on base runners as they should. I'm going to take advantage of that with two of the biggest assets I have. That speed at the top of the lineup. Will apply that pressure on the defense, see if they're able to get them or see if they make mistakes or miscues, and certainly it has been able to give you that aggressive style of play, which has led to quite a stretch of the 13 wins, the 5-game winning streak or the 6-game winning streak for the Flying Squirrels, and now entering today just a half game out of first place in the Western Division.
And it's all fine and good to have two guys that can be your catalyst at the top of the order, but to be an elite running team, you have to get some of those intangible guys that aren't necessarily known for their speed to have success at the right times on the bases, and the Squirrels have that. The aforementioned Parker, he can run. Mario Lisone actually has 8 stolen bases. Miles Schroeder, who is listed as a catcher as well. All those things add up to the fact that the Squirrels sit only 3 stolen bases away from snapping the franchise record for stolen bases now in their 5th season. And again, we're not even to the halfway point. We've been doing things illegally behind the scenes at the Diamond for years, but now publicly one of the most successful crime rings in minor league baseball, not just, by the way, in the Eastern League. And we continue to look at this string of success for the Flying Squirrels. And Jay, you and I again talked about it extensively, not necessarily for what they've done on the hill to this point, but what they've done to the clubhouse culture. Hunter Strickland, along with Andrew Kerrigan, have certainly been nice additions.
Yeah, they've been able to bolster this bullpen. And with the addition of Austin Fleet to the starting rotation, the Squirrels had to put Clayton Blackburn on the disabled list a couple of weeks ago. You're a little bit thin back there in the bullpen. And Kerrigan is a guy we talked about briefly on the last show. This is a guy that did play a pitch in the major leagues with the Oakland Athletics. He's coming back from multiple surgeries, and he's been a little bit up with his pitches, but he's been able to limit the damage when he's been into games. Hunter Strickland has been a guy that has turned heads not only in the ballpark, but also throughout the organization and scouting ranks as well. He is a guy with a power fastball. Both guys have a great attitude, discipline as well, and they really do anchor that bullpen that might be a little bit frayed now with Derek Law, the closer, being placed on the disabled list.
You led me right where I wanted to go, Jay, as you so often do on the air, whether that be television or radio, and that's a huge loss for this team. I don't think there's any way of sugarcoating that. He's been the most dominant closer, but arguably the most dominant reliever in this league as well. Derek actually right now in transit to Arizona to be looked at by Giants specialists. We hope there's an outside chance that he returns, but more than likely that's not going to be the case. Now, when you're on one of these rolls and win streaks, you and I have been a part of enough of them where you look for something that seems relatively minor, the loss of one guy or the promotion of one guy. This has the potential to curtail the success of this bullpen.
It could, but you don't think it will, and there's a couple of reasons for that. And the guy we just mentioned in Hunter Strickland, one, you feel bad for Derek Law because he was really on the cusp of going to the major leagues, and unfortunately for him, going down with what was deemed a forearm tightness. So you need somebody to step up. The Squirrels and the Giants do have that guy in Hunter Strickland. There's also Cody Halls, who's been stellar out of the bullpen as your 8th inning guy as well. So between those two guys, you feel like they can carry the load. It is still a little bit of it's still a big ding to the Squirrels and for Law, his career as well, and hopefully everything's okay with him. But you've got the pieces to pick it up, and that's what you need in a team that's going to win their fair share of games.
And some have surmised that potentially Law going down with an injury will open the door for current San Jose closer Stephen Okert to make his way to the AA Eastern League. He is presently 19 of 20 in save opportunities. But at the moment, that goes to a guy who's been in-house, ready to go, left-hander Josh Osich. He struggled at the beginning of the season. Upon his return, is he primed for a turnaround?
I don't know. We hope so. And you saw him in his first outing off the disabled list for Osich. This is a guy we talked extensively about last year, coming up from San Jose, having a lot of success down there. He's been through a little bit of the ringer here in the Eastern League, and his velocity isn't fully where it has been in the past. So we'll see if Osich can take over and command that 7th inning spot, because the Squirrels certainly would like to have him do so.
We spend just a little bit of time at the end of our discussion here from the Colonial First Mortgage baseball desk talking about the starting rotation, and how can you believe that that has been pushed to the background of this conversation, 2014 Flying Squirrels baseball, but it has, as has prospect right-hander Clayton Blackburn. I mentioned he's going down to build up some innings in Arizona. We're probably not going to see him for another 3 weeks, but we have seen Austin Fleet in his stead. Now, Blackburn obviously has the higher ceiling, but I think right now Fleet might be the more complete pitcher, along with Ty Block and Jack Snodgrass. Those 3 guys give this team a better chance to win.
Yeah, they do, and hopefully we see Blackburn at some point down the road. But Fleet has been an addition to the rotation. Unfortunately, you take him out of the bullpen as your long man. When you have Jack Snodgrass, who's been a stalwart in this league, and Ty Block, those 2 guys in any given day can go out there and give you 7 quality innings. So for the rotation, as we mentioned in the beginning, there's still a little bit of maturity to be had, but with the way that Kyle Crick has come along as well, you feel as though there's steps to be taken and will be taken as we go into the deeper part of summer.
Well, we're not oblivious, and we will get back to talking prospects on the next episode of FSI, when Wes McElroy from Sports Radio 910 will return as well, and we'll be at full strength. However, we have to get our strength back, and we do that on off days scattered throughout the season. We had one last week, and the Squirrels used the opportunity to raise some money for Flying Squirrels charities along with RIR Cares. Let's exchange those bats and gloves for drivers and wedges as we return on FSI and take you out to the Dominion Club for the first annual Turn Left Golf Classic.
He's Jared Parker, the most interesting ball player in Virginia.
He once tried to sacrifice himself for the bunt. His manager sprinted in from the coach's box and dove in front of the pitch to save him. Mired in a losing streak, the baseball gods tried praying to him. He was once intentionally walked in a tie game with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Not all squirrels come from Virginia, but this one does. Stay squirrely, my friends.
Welcome to another edition of Sandlot Sass here on FSI. I'm Michael Felstein from the Dominion Club, which is hosting the first ever Turn Left Golf Classic, where two of the biggest names in sports entertainment in the Richmond area, Richmond International Racing, and the Flying Squirrels have collaborated for this charitable golf event, combining NASCAR stars as well as squirrels and celebrities, all coming together for a good cause as we go through some of the sights and sounds of the inaugural Turn Left Golf Classic. How do you like getting involved in these kind of events and giving back to the community?
Oh, it's wonderful. I really like the fact that we can help out.
If you could give one golf tip, what would it be?
Don't hit it in the trees. I don't like hitting it in the trees, so don't do it.
We've been around the course all afternoon. You guys are the only group with music in a game known for its silence.
No.
What made you bring the music to the picture?
Today we're out here for charity, raising a lot of money and awareness for a lot of different good charities with the squirrels and also with the racetrack. So why not play a little music? It's a good day.
Golf and racing, what are some of the differences between the two games?
Golf carts only run 5 or 6 miles an hour. Race cars, of course, we run 200. So that's probably the biggest difference.
We love racing and we love baseball, so this is a good marriage.
Rate yourself on your golf game so far today.
Rate my game? Well, it would be some, it's been okay. I haven't helicoptered the club or anything, so I've lost a few golf balls, which is very typical when I play, but all in all, it's been fun.
We may not be lighting up the scoreboard, but we are having fun.
You're a left-hander, but you actually golf righty. How did that come about?
You know, the only thing I do left-handed is throw a baseball. I'm actually right-handed, and everything else I do, I right-handed and everything. So I guess that's just how it came about.
Have to ask you, what's with all the Virginia Tech gear going on with you today?
My girlfriend's mom, she went to Virginia Tech, so I got the hat and the belt, trying to earn some brownie points.
What has your day been like out on the links so far?
Well, I've got some good golf mates, and they can play pretty good, and I'm not.
Seems like in its inaugural collaboration, racing and baseball, a home run.
Absolutely, yeah, we love it. We're almost to the finish line now, too, so they're throwing another one.
Thank you for finishing off the puns.
All right, thank you very much.
Welcome back to Flying Squirrels Insider. As we have taken it to FSI Field, our James Limousine Luxury On-Field Host of the Week. I think that sounds pretty good. Squirrels getting off the bus this morning at 4:30, so we rousted this guy. He'll be in game action tonight. It is Mike Murphy. Murph, thanks for being here.
No problem, Liz. Appreciate you having me.
It is hard to believe that you are already now in your 3rd season as the on-field MC for the Flying Squirrels. Just take our viewers through what that entails and start earlier in the day getting props ready rather than just the glory which is on the field later in the night.
Well, the day obviously starts with hair product. Every day has to start with hair product. Show up at the office around 8:30, for example, this morning. Got here about 8:30 and took the tarp off the field from the rain last night, getting ready for tonight's game. Go through the normal routine of checking email, having staff meetings, contacting clients who might be at the game for my corporate sales side of my job, and then start dealing with the players' request for whatever it may be, tickets, need to put something in the mail. Then really start working on costumes for the night around 4 o'clock and try to come up with something that goes along with the theme.
Well, you segued me nicely there because you followed Christina Schisler, who was the original Flying Squirrels on-field MC. How am I going to phrase this delicately? She had more God-given talent than you did in her role on the field, but you've compensated nicely. You've created a niche for yourself with these costumes. Now, I don't believe we've ever had a tutu crown combination. We may have here on Flying Squirrels Insider, but we have had that combination at the ballpark. Just what goes into these costumes and how do you vary and stay creative night to night?
Basically, try to stick with whatever the theme may be for that night. The tutu came with dance night that we had when we had the Russian Bar Trio in town. The crown combination is something I'd like to think of myself as the king of the first base little tunnel there where I'm the only person that stands, so that makes me king. As far as putting the costumes together, we have a promotions closet that I go through and say, hey, this is cool, let's wear this.
And it seems like many of the interns have gotten in on the act. They help you out with these costumes as well.
Absolutely. Our promotions interns have been awesome this year. I've gone through our promo schedule and said, hey, I think I could wear this for tonight's theme, and can you guys make it? And sure enough, they've done a great job. So far this year, I've worn a box of Girl Scout cookies for Girl Scout night, a Curious George, and a Green Eggs and Ham book for our reading nights that we've had at the ballpark. Just some things that those interns have done an absolutely awesome job of helping me look ridiculous.
A lot of the gratifying part of our jobs, and I know more particularly yours, comes from the reaction of youngsters. What is the most gratifying reaction that you get from a group of young people down on the field?
It's always fun, whenever we have a contest going on. For me personally, I enjoy just hearing the full crowd reaction. Obviously, the kids are there going crazy, but when we do a contest, when I pick a winning side and the other side boos because I didn't pick them because they won, it's really cool to see how into it our fans are, not only while the Squirrels are on the field, but in between innings when we're doing our promotions.
Just a few seconds, we are going to debut here on FSI Field, Hillbilly Horseshoes. But before we do, Murph, I got to ask you very quickly what your favorite on-field contest is.
I enjoy the sing-along that we do where it's the fans have to finish the song because I get to pick the winner, and that's the one where the fans boo. But I also enjoy the good old-fashioned dizzy bat obstacle course where make a kid spin around and hope they fall down and everybody laughs.
That is something we have not done on FSI Field. But when we return, Mike Murphy is going to MC for us. Jay Burnham and I are going to clash in Hillbilly Horseshoes. Reigning champion Todd Parnell out on another meeting this morning. But that doesn't mean somebody isn't going down. FSI continues with our James Limousine Luxury On-Field Host of the Week, Mike Murphy, right after this. All right, here we are on FSI Field. As you can see, Murph has changed into one of my favorite costumes. It's the box. Today it's mac and cheese. It can be other things. And we've also got our Hillbilly Horseshoes right here. Neither Jay or I is the defending champion, Murph. That's our own Todd Parnell, but I think he'd approve of us challenging to become that top challenger today. Before we start, though, we need the rules to this contest.
Absolutely. Always looking for whoever's next in line for Parney. The rules of Hillbilly Horseshoes, each of you have in your hands 3 toilet seats that we may or may not have ripped off the public restrooms today at the Diamond. Down here, we've got a board with a plunger tied to it. Some good old-fashioned Hillbilly Horseshoes for those of you at home who have never done it. You're lying if you say you never have. The rules, you're going to throw your horseshoes. If it hits the board, it's 1 point. If it stays on the board, it is 2 points. If you get a ringer around the plunger, it is 3 points. From our coin flip before, I think, Jay, you're going first, right?
This is my first time.
Oh, he's a lefty.
So,
yeah, there you go.
Lefty's going to throw the whole thing off.
Now that's,
Jay,
what is that?
That grazed it 1 point.
I feel like you're very generous in your scoring down on the field always. That was very generous.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Uh-oh.
that is 0 points. Stay out of the weight room.
I just got to play it safe. I'm going to lay up here.
No, this next one's going to be okay, so that hit it?
That's
1
just
point.
1 point, so 2 total.
Oh,
all right.
Man.
Ladies,
look at that.
You're staying on.
Credit
We're
off
tied
the base.
up. Coming down to the final throw.
Do you want rotation on it, I think?
Yeah, I don't think you do. Oh, there it is. I feel like he's...
So, Jay, you're in the clubhouse at 3.
You got 3?
You hit it for the tie. Stays on for the win. Hey.
That's mine on the thing, right?
Right, that's 2 points on there.
All right. Hit the stick for the win is what you're saying here. All right. That grazed the stick.
That grazed the stick. Your field, your rules. Lays.
That's 3-3. We'll keep it a tie.
3-3
All right.
tie.
Now, normally after the win, Todd Parnell would go over, and what's this leg thing he does? I don't think you can accurately showcase that with Ross Grimsley, our pitching coach, in the box.
I don't know. They're weird guys.
They come in and they grab the leg like this. It's really
I think
awkward.
it's something they saw on soccer game or something with the World Cup going on. Maybe that has something to do with it. I have no clue. Always got to be kind of braggadocious when you're celebrating hillbilly horseshoe wins, I guess.
Well, Murph, with your headgear and your mac and cheese box, I'm going to let you close down this segment before I close down FSI.
Ladies and gentlemen, are going home with a tie today. So both Jay and Laaser, we're going to send you both home from FSI Field with some prizes, courtesy of Haley.
I'm pretty sure that I grazed that stick, and therefore I should be crowned the champion here on FSI Field. But that's not the way it seems to work. We'll share that glory with Jay Burnham. Big thanks to James Limousine for bringing us our James Limousine Luxury On-Field Host of the Week. We'll have our On-Field Player of the Week next week as well. When FSI returns, Wes McElroy will be back with us as well. Until then, though, thanks for joining us this week as we had a heavily packed Flying Squirrels Insider. Glad you could be a part of it.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by the all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, offering professional-grade design and functionality. The all-new 2015 GMC Yukon, now available at Richmond area GMC dealers. Dan Doherty at Colonial First Mortgage, assisting customers with home purchasing and mortgage refinancing. Online at colonial1mtg.com and by phone at 804-218-4444. And James Limousine, driven to serve Richmond for 22 years. JamesLimousine.com, 804-273-1540.